Let's take a moment to understand new fill layers. If you go in Photoshop CS6 to Layer, New Fill Layer, you can see that we can choose solid colors, patterns, or gradients. Let me just choose a gradient, for example. And we're just going to click on OK. And when I go to New Fill Layer, I can choose any of the gradients. From the drop-down box, I can choose my foreground to background color. I can choose foreground to transparent, or I can use any of the built-in colors. Let me just click the foreground to background color. Now you can even hit the middle of the gradient box. If you click on the middle of it, you can actually customize your own colors. This is similar to how you would do it if you chose the gradient tool, which is located behind the paint bucket tool in the toolbar. I'm going to double click the bottom color here. I'm going to go from light blue to, double click here at the bottom right box, to dark blue. So we click on OK. Notice how we can click on the middle diamond and decrease or increase the amount of time we're on one area or the other. And we can choose different types of gradients. So we'll click OK. We're going to switch from linear. By the way, you can change the angle as well. So let's restore it back to 90 degrees. And we're going to switch it to radial, which is a circular in this way. You can play around with the scale. You can reverse it, which changes the color. And we're going to make the scale a bit larger. So see what happens here. Let's not make it too large. This is kind of interesting how we have a 200%. You have a nice dark edge there. This is kind of nice. So click OK. So what's the point? We can do, let me create a new layer, hide this layer, and I'm going to do something very similar without using that layer, new fill layer. So I hid this layer, which I can see it added a white box on the side with a little chain link here, but I'm going to hide it for now. I'm going to start from scratch to understand what's going on. So if I right click the paint bucket tool, choose gradient tool, I will choose that the first color here. You can see that in the same way we did it last time, we hit the middle box here and we chose our own colors. Double click the bottom here. We went from light blue to, double click here, to dark blue, and we kind of made it more like that. And what I should have done is I should have named it my own. I'll call this AAA and click on the word new. This way we have our custom gradient added to the choices up here at the top. So click on OK. So now we have it. I could have very easily chosen the second option here, which is the radial gradient, and then click from the middle out. You can see that we have a very similar effect. Now it may not be centered. I'm going to press Ctrl Alt Z. We might have to use some guidelines to. So this is not the same as this in the sense where we don't really know where the center is, but you know, you can probably guess pretty close. But if you want to be perfectionist, you can use new guides as well. You can go new guide, vertical, horizontal guides, which will help you find the center. But when I actually look at this, this is pretty darn close to this. So what's the advantage of having this? Control Alt Z. Let's delete this layer. Well, the reason why it's nice to have this is, let's show it again, is that we have this nice layer mask attached to this gradient. So if I were to click on this white box, you can hover over it and you see this is called a layer mask. As long as this white box is selected, you can press delete, and it says you want to delete the layer mask. Click on delete. Now we see this is just a simple gradient fill. So let's press Ctrl Alt Z or Ctrl Z, and we have this idea of a layer mask. So what's nice about this layer mask is that if we damage this picture somehow, so let me use the color black, and I'll use a brush, and let me just make this brush size a bit bigger here. If I were to damage this picture somehow, or maybe I want to feather delete it or somehow manipulate it, the nice thing here is that we can always right click delete layer mask and still have the original image. Let's press Ctrl Alt Z here. So not damaging the original image is a powerful feature of using this layer fill. Now the interesting thing about layer masks, as you might have learned before, is that if we use the color white, we don't actually erase away anything at all. No part of the picture becomes transparent. However, if you use black, it cuts right through it, and then if you use gray, it kind of semi deletes it in a transparent way. And so you can see that no matter how many times I go over it, because of the degree of how white or how black it is, determines how much see-throughness we have here. If you don't like what's happening here with the layer underneath it, you can see there's some transparent layer underneath it. You can always delete this, right click delete layer mask, and if you want to get it back, you can just click on add layer mask here. So this is exactly the way we had it before. So by going to layer, new fill layer, we essentially got the nice gradient fill effect, or you can do solid colors and patterns, and in one shot it automatically added a layer mask, which is this button here. It added a vector mask.